Did you know the shortest war in history, the Angola-Zanzibar War on August 27th of 1896, lasted only 38 minutes, making it the shortest recorded war in history. Due to tensions between the British Empire, and I'm going to butcher these names, Sultan Khalid bin Barghash of Zanzibar, the British favored a different candidate for the Sultanate, while Khalid bin Barghash claimed the throne after the death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwani. The British issued an ultimatum demanding that he abdicate the throne by 9 a.m. on August 27th of 1896. Khalid bin Barghash refused to comply with the ultimatum, and tensions escalated. At 9:02 a.m. on the same day, the British warships opened fire on the Sultan's palace and the defending Zanzibari forces. By midday, the war had effectively ended. The British declared victory, installed a new sultan favorable to their interests, and established a protectorate over Zanzibar. The 2010 traffic jam in China on the Beijing-Tibet Expressway was an extraordinary event that lasted for an extended period, becoming one of the longest traffic jams recorded in history. In August of 2010, a massive traffic jam occurred on the National Expressway 110, a major highway linking Beijing to the northern regions and Inner Mongolia. The congestion extended for over 60 miles between Beijing and Huan in the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Some reports even indicated that the traffic jam stretched for over 62 miles. The heavy traffic was exacerbated by road maintenance and construction projects along the expressway, reducing lanes available for vehicles. The congestion lasted for an astonishing 12 days, causing significant delays and hardships for motorists and travelers. Some drivers reported being stuck in the traffic jams for days, resulting in limited access to food, water, and restroom facilities. Local vendors took advantage of the situation by selling food and water at inflated prices to the stranded drivers. Did you know the world's oldest hotel, the Nishiyama Onsen Kyokan in Japan, is recognized as the world's oldest hotel still in operation? It has been running for over 1,300 years. The inn was established in 705 AD during the Nara period by Fujiwara Mahito, a political and military leader. It was originally built to provide a serene retreat and hot spring baths for the imperial court and aristocrats. Throughout its extensive history, the inn has been owned and managed by the same family for over 52 generations. The current owner, Hoshi family, has been operating the inn for over 1,300 years. Nishiyama Onsen Kyokan is renowned for its natural hot spring baths, known as onsen in Japanese. The inn's hot spring waters are sourced from a local thermal spring, believed to have therapeutic and healing properties. Over its long history, the inn has welcomed various guests, including emperors, samurais, and travelers seeking relaxation in its serene surroundings. Did you know Pez is a popular brand of candy famous for its small rectangular fruit-flavored tablets that are dispensed from a decorative plastic dispenser? Pez was invented in Austria in 1927 by Eduard Haas III, who was initially a manufacturer of peppermint lozenges. He created Pez as an alternative to smoking and marketed it as a peppermint breath mint. The name Pez comes from the German word Pfefferminz, which means peppermint. In the 1950s, the first Pez dispensers were introduced. These dispensers originally designed to look like cigarette lighters were later transformed into novelty character-themed dispensers. The first character dispenser were in the shape of Santa Claus, followed by various other characters, animals, and pop culture icons. Over the years, Pez has expanded its range of flavors and dispenser designs, consistently introducing new characters and limited editions to cater to collectors and candy enthusiasts.
It's emergency.
Hello, I'm sorry to ring, and it doesn't seem like much of an emergency, but it is a little bit, because I'm at an ice cream van and I've ordered an ice cream, yeah? And the person is basically giving me the ice cream. He's put bits on one side and none on the other. So I've said to him, can you do it properly, please? And he's like, no, he's not doing properly. I said, okay, fine, then can I have my money back? You can keep the ice cream. He's refusing to give me my money back, saying that I've got to take it like that. I'm standing at the van with the... and I believe he's missing.
Right, okay. It's not really a police matter, it's a civil matter.
So how do I deal with this?
Right, well, he's self-employed. Obviously, he's the manager or whatever, to speak to the manager. If not, you need to speak to Citizens Advice Bureau or Trading Standards.
Citizens Advice Bureau or Trading Standards?
Trading Standards, yes.
Yeah, how do I get all of them?
I don't know, it'll be on the internet.
Standing outside the van now, and obviously I'm not...
Did you know the oldest dog who ever lived, an Australian cattle dog called Bluey that worked among cattle and sheep for nearly 20 years, was euthanized on November 14th of 1939, aged 29 years and 5 months. Another dog named Chilia was said to have lived for 32 years. A study was done to see if Australian cattle dogs lived longer than other dog breeds. The study showed that Australian cattle dogs lived an average for 13.41 years, almost a year longer than other dog breeds. Born on May 11th, 1992, Bobai was a male purebred Refario do Alentejo dog. On February 2nd, 2023, Bobai was certified by the Guinness Book of World Records as the first dog on record to live to be 30 years old. Bobai died at home on October 2023 at the purported age of 31. There's one distinctive flaw in all these dogs' ages. There's no solid proof beyond the word of the dog's owner. Were these dogs an anomaly, or were their owners either clueless or lying? What do you think?
Restaurants, please. What's the emergency?
My girlfriend has let the cat eat my bacon.
Sorry?
My girlfriend let the cat eat my bacon.
So you want to beat up your girlfriend because the cat's eating your bacon?
I want to press charges.
Against who? Your girlfriend or the cat?
You want
Who do you want to press charges against? Your girlfriend or the cat?
both of them.
Right. Sir, it's not a criminal offence to let a cat eat your bacon, okay? And we don't arrest cats. I'm very sorry.
No, but my girlfriend allowed the cat to do it.
Right, I'm very sorry, sir, but it's not a 999 emergency because your girlfriend's let the cat eat the bacon. I do apologise, but it's not a police matter.
Okay then.
Okay.
Okay, love.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did you know the invention of the chainsaw is attributed to two Scottish doctors, John Elkan and James Jeffrey, in the late 18th century? They developed a prototype of the chainsaw as a surgical instrument for symphysiotomy, a surgical procedure to widen the pelvis during childbirth. Their intention was to make the process faster and more efficient. A precursor of the chainsaw familiar today in the timber industry was another medical instrument developed around 1830 by German orthopedist Bernhard Heine. This instrument, the osteotome, had links of a chain carrying small cutting teeth with the edges set at an angle. The chain was moved around a guiding blade by turning the handle of a sprocket wheel. As the name implies, this was used to cut bone. It wasn't until the early 20th century that the chainsaw began to be used for more practical purposes, such as cutting down trees. In 1927, Andreas Still, a German engineer, patented the first gasoline-powered chainsaw, which was marked as a tool for forestry workers. Did you know Lechemana Ramasamy, affectionately known to Malaysians as Mighty Man, pulled off an incredible feat involving his hair and a 32.5-ton Boeing 737? The year, 1990. The setting, Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah Airport in Subang. The deed, pull the aircraft a distance of 16.85 meters. The prize, made a Guinness World Record. 9 years down the road, Mighty Man wowed audiences again when he towed a double-decker bus over a distance of 30 meters in Leicestershire, Britain. The anomaly in this particular case is the Mighty Man used his hair to drag that Boeing 737 aircraft. "I feel I am very big and absolutely invincible," he once said. "I feel no pain." Lechemana Ramasamy died on a Tuesday of heart problems. He was 55. His daughter, Jaya Barathi, followed in his footsteps in 2002 when she pulled a truck using her hair. In turn, his son could pull a truck with his teeth. What's up with his family? Did you know boanthropy is the psychological disorder in which an individual believes that they have turned into an ox or a cow? This condition is considered a specific form of zoanthropy, which is a broader category of mental disorders involving individuals believing they have transformed into animals. People experiencing boanthropy may exhibit behaviors consistent with the perceived animal form, such as crawling on all fours, mooing, or adapting other bovine-like behaviors. This condition is quite rare and is generally classified as a form of delusional disorder. It's important to note that while historical accounts and literature mention cases of boanthropy, contemporary psychiatric understanding classifies such condition as part of delusional or psychotic disorders. It's crucial to emphasize that discussions about mental health should be approached with sensitivity and understanding. If you or someone you know is experiencing symptoms of a mental health disorder, seeking professional help is important for accurate diagnosis and appropriate treatments. Did you know John Resnikoff is a well-known figure in historical autographs and manuscripts? He is recognized as a collector and dealer of historical documents and artifacts. His company, University Archives, has been involved in the buying and selling of historical documents for many years. John Resnikoff also holds the Guinness World Record for the largest collection of hair from historical celebrities. He bought Neil Armstrong's hair that was sold in 2004 for $3,000. He has hair strands from numerous historical figures like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Napoleon, Beethoven, and Chopin. What was once a gentleman's hobby among a few dozen enthusiasts at the turn of the 20th century has evolved into a multi-million-dollar industry complete with professional dealers and serious quacks. As hair collecting has endured to the modern day, it brings with it the air of august creepiness that surrounds any celebrity-chasing pastime, not to mention its own peculiar set of boundary issue controversies. Did you know the inventor of the Frisbee was turned into a Frisbee? Walter Morrison, the inventor, was cremated and his ashes were turned into a Frisbee after he passed away. Walter Morrison was an American inventor best known for creating the Frisbee. Morrison developed the idea for the Frisbee after witnessing people throwing around empty metal cake pans. He and his business partner Warren Francione began selling their flying discs, initially called flying saucers, at county fairs. In 1957, Morrison sold the rights to his invention to the Wham-O Toy Company, which popularized and further developed the product. The name Frisbee was adopted as a nod to the Frisbee Pie Company, whose pie tins were often used for similar disc games. Morrison passed away in 2010 of cancer with implicit instructions that his ashes were to be molded into a Frisbee. It wasn't just one, though. A series of Frisbees were made from his ashes and distributed among family members. That's so weird. Did you know Frank Hayes was a jockey who gained notoriety for an unusual and tragic event? On June 4th of 1923, Hayes rode a horse named Sweet Kiss in a race at Belmont Park in New York. Despite being an inexperienced jockey, Hayes won the race. The remarkable aspect of this victory was that Hayes suffered a fatal heart attack during the race. Frank Hayes became the only known jockey to win a race after his death. It was discovered that he had died of a heart attack mid-race, but he managed to stay in the saddle, and his body crossed the finish line first. This incident remains a unique and eerie occurrence in horse racing history. After the discovery of Hayes' death, all further post-race formalities were waived by the Jockey Club. Hayes was buried 3 days later, dressed in his racing silks, at Holy Cross Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York City. The horse never raced again, and it is claimed that Sweet Kiss was nicknamed Sweet Kiss of Death for the rest of her life. Wow, he's a poor horse. The Museum of Failure is an exhibition that showcases products and innovations that were commercial failures or faced significant setbacks. The idea behind the museum is to celebrate the importance of failure in innovation and learning. The Museum of Failure features a collection of products from various industries, including technology, food and beverage, healthcare, and more. Some notable items on display have included products like the Apple Newton, Harley-Davidson perfume, Colgate frozen entrees, Microsoft Zune, Google Glass, and the Bic for her pens. The concept of the Museum of Failure was initiated by Dr. Samuel West, a Swedish psychologist and innovation researcher. The exhibition has been hosted in different locations worldwide, allowing visitors to explore the history of innovation and understand how even well-known companies and products have faced failures along the way. The museum aims to inspire a more open and accepting attitude toward failure in the business and the creative world. Did you know cheese is among the world's most frequently shoplifted food items? Back in 2011, in fact, Time proclaimed it the most stolen food on Earth, with nearly 4% of cheese inventory worldwide nicked each year.
Developing right now, police are looking for 20,000 pounds of stolen cheese.
That's right. It was on its way from Green Bay to the New York, New Jersey area, but was taken overnight in Oak Creek. Pete Servat.
It's kind of crazy that cheese is such a valuable commodity at this point that people are just going off with entire trucks full of it.
Well, new at 6, 42,000 pounds of cheese could fetch a pretty penny on the black market. As News 3's investigative reporter Adam Schrager is learning about the missing Munster.
These are the streets of Reggio Emilia, Italy, home to Parmesan. There have been so many thefts, Vicari explained. Cheese is a bit like gold here. The price
Naval Air Station South Weymouth was a military airfield located in Weymouth, Massachusetts, in the United States. It was established in 1942 during World War II as a Naval Reserve aviation base. The primary mission of NAS South Weymouth was to train naval aviators for carrier-based operations. Before and during World War II, 134 K-class blimps were built and configured for patrol and anti-submarine warfare operations and were extensively used in the Navy's anti-submarine efforts in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean areas. A dozen Goodyear-made blimps were based in Weymouth, with some non-rigid airships sent to posts in other parts of the country. Each blimp was flown by a twin-engine control car. They carried up to 4 depth charges and one 12.7mm machine gun. The base officially closed in 1997, and the land was subsequently transferred to civilian control. John Chicky Donahue is a retired American merchant marine and a Vietnam War veteran known for his remarkable adventure recounted in the book The Greatest Beer Run Ever, a memoir of friendship, loyalty, and war. During the Vietnam War, Donahue, feeling a sense of duty to his friends serving in the war, embarked on an extraordinary journey. In 1967, he decided to bring a taste of home to his buddies serving in Vietnam by personally delivering beer to them. Donahue traveled from New York City to Vietnam, navigating through war zones and bureaucracy, and managing to track down and deliver beer to his friends from the neighborhood back home. Donahue's beer run became legendary among veterans, symbolizing camaraderie, friendship, and the bond between soldiers during wartime. After decades, Donahue reunited with some of the soldiers he had delivered beer to during the war. These reunions served as poignant reminders of the bonds forged during wartime and the lasting impact of Donahue's gesture of friendship. Bog butter refers to an ancient form of butter that has been discovered in various parts of the world, particularly in regions with peat bogs. These deposits of bog butter are often found buried in wooden containers or animal skins and are typically several centuries or even millennia old. One notable discovery of bog butter occurred in Ireland, where archaeologists have unearthed numerous examples dating back thousands of years. These finds provide insights into ancient food preservation methods and dietary practices. The process of making bog butter likely involved placing fresh butter into containers and burying them in the bog for safekeeping. Over time, the butter would become preserved. While the idea of consuming 5,000-year-old butter might seem unappetizing for modern sensibilities, some adventurous individuals and researchers have sampled bog butter to gain insights into its flavor and composition. Reports vary, with some describing it as rancid and foul-smelling, while others suggest it retains a creamy, cheese-like consistency. Hanging coffees is a concept that originated in Naples, Italy, and it involves customers purchasing an extra coffee or food item and leaving it hanging or reserved for someone in need who cannot afford to pay for it. The idea is rooted in the tradition of generosity and community support, allowing individuals to help those facing economic hardship or homelessness. A customer visits a participating coffee shop or cafe and decides to buy a hanging coffee along with their own order. Instead of consuming the extra item themselves, they pay for it up front and leave it hanging or reserved for someone else. Individuals who are in need can visit the coffee shop and inquire about hanging coffees. They can then redeem one of the pre-purchased items without having to pay for it themselves. This allows them to enjoy a hot beverage or food item even if they are unable to afford it. Just something to brighten someone else's day, just a little bit. Here are some random facts about where many classic phrases came from. Bread was divided according to status. Workers got the burnt bottom of the loaf, the family got the middle, and guests got the top, or the upper crust. They used to use urine to tan animal skins, so families used to all pee in a pot, and then once a day it was taken and sold to the tannery. If you had to do this to survive, you were piss poor. But worse than that were the really poor folks who couldn't even afford to buy a pot. They didn't have a pot to piss in, and were the lowest of the low. Most people got married in June because they took their yearly bath in May, and they still smelled pretty good by June. Since they were starting to smell, however, brides carried a bouquet of flowers to hide the body odor, hence the custom today of carrying a bouquet when getting married. In the old days, your floor was dirt. Only the wealthy had something other than dirt, leading folks to coin the phrase dirt poor. We'll continue these amazing facts next video. Let's learn where all those phrases come from that we grew up with. Baths consisted of a big tub filled with hot water. The man of the house had the privilege of the nice clean water, then all the other sons and men, then the women, and finally the children. Last of all, the babies. By then the water was so dirty you could actually lose someone in it, hence the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Houses had thatched roofs, thick straw piled high with no wood underneath. It was the only place for animals to get warm, so all the cats and other small animals lived in the roof. When it rained, it became slippery, and sometimes the animals would slip and fall off the roof, resulting in the idiom, "It's raining cats and dogs." There was nothing to stop things from falling into the house. This posed a real problem in the bedroom, where bugs and other droppings could mess up your nice clean bed. Therefore, a bed with big posts and a sheet hung over the top afforded some protection. That's how canopy beds came into existence. Take all these, I think, with just a little grain of salt. Let's educate ourselves with some dumb knowledge. England is old and small, and the local folks started running out of places to bury people. They would dig up coffins and would take the bones to a bone house and reuse the grave. When reopening these coffins, 1 out of 25 coffins were found to have scratch marks on the inside, and they realized they had been burying people alive. So they would tie a string on a wrist of the corpse, lead it through the coffin and up through the ground, and tie it to a bell. Someone would have to sit out in the graveyard all night to listen for the bell. Thus, someone could be saved by the bell or was considered a dead ringer. And that nightly shift would be known as the graveyard shift. Bells have been used to remind or instruct us to do something since a long time, with school bells, dinner bells, bells of the alarm clock, all serve to remind us that it's time to do something. In the old days, they cooked in the kitchen with a big kettle that always hung over the fire. Every day they lit the fire and added things to the pot. They ate mostly vegetables and did not get much meat. They would eat the stew for dinner, leaving leftovers in the pot to get cold overnight, and then start it over the next day. Sometimes stew had food in it that had been there for quite a while, and thus the rhyme, peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. Sometimes they could obtain pork, which made them feel quite special. When visitors came over, they would hang up their bacon to show off. It was a sign of wealth that a man could bring home the bacon. They would cut off a little to share with guests and would all sit around and chew the fat. Lead cups were used to drink ale or whiskey. The combination would sometimes knock someone out for a couple days. Someone walking along the road would take them for dead and prepare them for burial. They were laid out on the kitchen table for a couple of days, and the family would gather around and eat and drink and wait and see if they would wake up, creating the custom of holding a wake. Some legends suggest that Italian monks first created pretzels in the early 7th century. The distinctive shape, resembling arms crossed in prayer, was said to be a reward for children who learned their prayers. Monasteries played a significant role in spreading the pretzel throughout Europe. Monks baked pretzels and shared them with the poor as a symbol of good luck and prosperity. Pretzels became associated with various religious customs. They were often consumed during Lent because they were made from simple ingredients like flour and water, adhering to the fasting rules. By the Middle Ages, pretzels had become a staple in German-speaking regions. They were baked in monasteries, and later professional bakers began producing them. German immigrants brought pretzels to America in the 18th and 19th centuries. The first commercial pretzel bakery in the United States was established in Lititz, Pennsylvania, by Julia Sturgis in 1861. Pretzels quickly gained popularity in America, particularly in Pennsylvania, which remains a major center for pretzel production. Some legends suggest that Italian monks first created pretzels in the early 7th century. The distinctive shape, resembling arms crossed in prayer, was said to be a reward for children who learned their prayers. Monasteries played a significant role in spreading the pretzel throughout Europe. Monks baked pretzels and shared them with the poor as a symbol of good luck and prosperity. Pretzels became associated with various religious customs. They were often consumed during Lent because they were made from simple ingredients like flour and water, adhering to the fasting rules. By the Middle Ages, pretzels had become a staple in German-speaking regions. They were baked in monasteries, and later professional bakers began producing them. German immigrants brought pretzels to America in the 18th and 19th centuries. The first commercial pretzel bakery in the United States was established in Lititz, Pennsylvania, by Julius Sturgis in 1861. Pretzels quickly gained popularity in America, particularly in Pennsylvania, which remains a major center for pretzel production. Here are the real names of iconic characters we grew up with. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Ken's is Kenneth Sean Carson. Captain Crunch's full name is Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch. Let's see if I can do this one. The Wizard of Oz's given name is Oscar Zoaster Fadrick Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrose Diggs. Diggs. Shaggy is just his nickname. Norval Rogers is on his cartoon birth certificate. The Pringles guy is Julius Pringles. Chuck E. Cheese is short for Charles Entertainment Cheese. Uncle Pennybags is Milburn Pennybags, and if you land on Go to Jail, you just landed on Officer Edgar Mallory. Mr. Peanut grew up as Bartholomew Richard Fitzgerald Smith Peanut. Logan, aka Wolverine, was born James Howlett. Indiana Jones was born Henry Walton Jones Jr. They named the jog Indiana. Jeffrey the Giraffe, the Toys R Us mascot, is Dr. G. Raffi. We'll have to do this again soon. It was fun. According to the U.S. Mint, those rigid edges of a coin is technically referred to as a reeded edge. In the past, coins were often made from precious metals like gold and silver. People sometimes shaved off small amounts of these metals from the edges of the coins, a practice known as clipping, to accumulate enough metal to melt down and sell. This tampering reduced the coin's weight and value. Reading made it easy to detect if a coin had been clipped, as any tampering with the edges would be immediately noticeable. Reeded edges also helped to deter counterfeiting. Adding intricate ridges to the edges of the coin increases the complexity of the coin design, making it more difficult for counterfeiters to produce convincing fakes. Ridges make it easier for people to distinguish between the different denominations by touch. This feature is especially useful for the visually impaired individuals. Today, while most coins are no longer made from precious metals, the tradition of reeded edges continues for practical and historical reasons. Did you know that the Centennial Light is the world's longest lasting light bulb? The Centennial Light was installed in 1901. The Shelby Electric Company originally manufactured the light. The bulb has been housed in several locations over the years, starting at the Livermore Power and Water Company, then moving to the Livermore Volunteer Fire Department, and finally to Fire Station number 6, where it remains today. The bulb is a carbon filament type, which was common in the early 1900s. Originally a 60 watt or 30 watt bulb, it now emits about 4 watts of light. The exact reasons for its longevity are not fully understood, but factors such as the quality of the filament, the manufacturing process, and consistent low power usage have been suggested as contributing factors. It kind of makes you think, here we are in 2024, over 100 years later, and no such bulb exists. If I was a conspiracy kind of fella, I would think it doesn't exist because GE and others wouldn't be able to continuously sell light bulbs. It's the great light bulb conspiracy. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Let the games begin. The Olympics. What were the prizes? In ancient Olympic games, the olive wreath was a prize for the winner. Those were held from 1776 BC to 393 AD. The modern Olympic Games were revived by Pierre de Coubertin, with the first games held in Athena, Greece in 1896. The winners were awarded silver medals and an olive branch. They really loved olive branches. Runners-up received bronze medals. Gold medals were not awarded. In 1900 Paris, winners received various prizes, including cups and trophies, rather than standardized medals. It wasn't until 1904 at the St. Louis Games that marked the first time the now standard gold, silver, and bronze medals were awarded to first, second, and third place finishers, respectively. In 1908 London, the medals began to have more artistic designs. The front typically featured an image of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, while the reverse showcased various designs representing the host city. The last Olympic gold medals made entirely of gold were awarded in 1912. Modern gold medals are required to contain at least 6 grams of gold. They are primarily silver, gilded with a thin layer of gold. The size and weight of medals have increased over time. In 1928, Amsterdam, the design by Giuseppe Casali, featured Nike holding a winner's crown with the Colosseum in the background. That became the standard and was used until 1968. In 1972 Munich, the obverse design remained the same, but the reverse design started to be customized by each host city. In 2004 Athens, a new obverse design was introduced to correct historical inaccuracies. Recent games have focused on sustainability. For example, the medals for 2020 Tokyo Olympics were made from recycled electronics collected from Japanese citizens. Each host city will continue to infuse their culture and creativity into the medal designs, making each set unique and reflective of the host nation's heritage and values.